everyone. As today is VE Day, the 75th anniversary, I thought I'd just share a couple of thoughts on how we might reflect today and also celebrate this occasion. So, Winston Churchill announced in 1945 the end of the war in Europe. So VE Day, victory in Europe. This was a massive celebration for the nation, and across Britain, people came out into the streets. They had parades, they had street parties, there was jubilation, there was relief, there was celebration. Many people at home in the UK were celebrating, but unfortunately, on that first ever VE Day, most of the troops were still at war. Prisoners of war were still in prisoner of war camps, troops were still out on the battlefields that they had been fighting on. So just thought we'd look at one example of somebody who survived World War II, and it's an extraordinary case. This is Geoffrey Hafer. His plane was shot down over Germany during World War II, and he actually fell from the plane without having a parachute on. He miraculously survived, was injured, but was taken to a prisoner of war camp and was treated at the hospital there. Spent a significant amount of time until the end of the war. And he talks about the relief of the American truck showing up at the prisoner of war camp to say that the war was over and the prisoners of war would be released. But what he also talks about is how that changed him, and that he was very anxious that he would come home to a celebration, to bunting, to a party, and he wasn't in a position where he could enjoy that or be part of that, having lived through his experience as a prisoner of war. And he talks about not being able to go through that experience and be the same again. So there was celebration, but there's also things to reflect on. And Winston Churchill, again, like a quote from Winston, talked about this being a day of triumph and also of sorrow. So the triumph that war was over, but the sorrow of the lives that were lost during the war. So 18 million service people, 45 million civilians, so people who weren't troops, who weren't necessarily at war, and 67,000 were killed in air raids that occurred in the UK, so in their homes, in their towns, in their cities. So lots of significant loss that is hard for us to scale nowadays, I think. What do we want to do for VE Day? I think several things. We want to remember, we want to celebrate that day of victory in Europe and all of those celebrations that happened in 1945, but we also want to reflect on the losses and appreciate the peace that we live in now, and hope that that will be worldwide and that that will continue to move forward in a positive way. So at Southern College, we are asking you to send in photos or videos of anything you do today to celebrate. My example is this very homemade bunting. So I found 3 items from a bag of recycling that I had cleared out during lockdown, and simply cut out a triangle, pop them onto a piece of string, really low cost, really low effort, but something to decorate the house today and the school for VE Day, to show that we're celebrating and to show that we're remembering. So do send in any pictures of anything you do, and please do enjoy the 75th anniversary of VE Day. Thank you.